In section 18 of Counsels and Maxims, Schopenhauer warns us against the dangers of the misuse of the imagination. Here's what he writes. A man should avoid being led on by the phantoms of his imagination. This is not the same thing as to submit to the guidance of ideas clearly thought out. And yet, these are rules of life which most people pervert. If you examine closely into the circumstances which, in any deliberation, ultimately turn the scale in favor of some particular course, you will generally find the decision is influenced not by any clear arrangement of ideas leading to a formal judgment, but by some fanciful picture which seems to stand for one of the alternatives in question. I think part of what Schopenhauer is saying here is that our will is moved by imagination, by pictures, by desirable things, not by abstractions, by principles, by thoughts alone. So he'll elaborate in what follows. He continues. In one of Voltaire's or Diderot's romances, I forget the precise reference, the hero, standing like a young Hercules at the parting of the ways, can see no other representation of virtue than his old tutor holding a snuff-box in his left hand, from which he takes a pinch and moralizes, whilst vice appears in the shape of his mother's chambermaid. It is in youth more especially that the goal of our efforts comes to be a fanciful picture of happiness, which continues to hover before our eyes, sometimes for half and even for the whole of our life, a sort of mocking spirit. For when we think our dream is to be realized, the picture fades away, leaving us the knowledge that nothing of what it promised is actually accomplished. How often this is so with the visions of domesticity, the detailed picture of what our home will be like, or of life among our fellow citizens and in society, or again, of living in the country, the kind of house we shall have, its surroundings, the marks of honor and respect that will be paid to us, and so on, whatever our hobby may be. Chaque fois sa marole. I think a French proverb meaning roughly, to each his own, or it takes all sorts to make a world. It is often the same, too, with our dreams about one we love. And this is all quite natural, for the visions we conjure up affect us directly, as though they were real objects, and so they exercise a more immediate influence upon our will than an abstract idea, which gives merely a vague, general outline devoid of details. And the details are just the real part of it. We can be only indirectly affected by an abstract idea, and yet it is the abstract idea alone which will do as much as it promises. And it is the function of education to teach us to put our trust in it. Of course, the abstract idea must be occasionally explained, paraphrased as it were, by the aid of pictures, but discreetly, cum grano salis, that is, with a grain of salt. That's the end of the section. An interesting reflection here from Schopenhauer on the hazards of the imagination. Right? We face a danger in youth especially, but perhaps for some of us our whole life long, of chasing after the phantom of the beautiful life, which we imagine in such vivid detail that it just draws us towards it. Right? I'll have this kind of relationship, this kind of pleasant experiences, this kind of house. And those details, although they are imaginary, because they are, so these vivid sensual details, they're real as dirt. They will draw us directly to it, where the idea, as a pure idea, requires a great deal of education and training to get us to understand and to move our will towards. The great example he cites from the book about the man whose virtue is represented by the old tutor, right? Not an attractive image, right? An old man taking snuff and sort of pontificating about virtue. Whereas what's vice look like? Vice, she's beautiful, right? She's very sensual. She's a particular woman that perhaps he's had this desire for. So it's not difficult to see just where the weight of the will come down when faced with those levels of details. The last thing I might add here, just by way of comment, is his remark that this is in fact natural, that we are moved by details and less so by principles until we have acquired a great deal of education and effort. I think of this of an observation that somebody made to me a while ago about the nature of political rhetoric. The strategy of political rhetoric is, at election time, is to render all of the benefits of my favored policy in terms of very vivid, concrete details. This person who's just like you will have this much money to do this thing if we implement my policy. And it's to render the benefits of my opponent's policy, the policy that I oppose, in broad generalities, right? Well, they just want to respect, to pay off the rich, or to respect such and such, to achieve some goal, some good, which I suppose, while it's good, will be represented by me in terms of some sort of vague general abstraction, which doesn't really move the will, doesn't draw you towards it. If I had to give a picture of it at all, I'd give a picture of the old Tutor with the snuff box, not of the sensuous chambermaid as an object of desire. So that's section 18 of Schopenhauer's Counsels and Maxims. We'll look at section 19 in the next video. Thanks for watching today. Goodbye.